Alrighty. So thank you all for joining me today. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Roxy and I'm a spirituality and mindset coach, but I'm guessing that because you're all here, you kind of have an idea of who I am. So tonight we're going to be doing a beautiful little full moon ceremony to end off 2021. Just by tapping into and recognizing all the things that we no longer want to take with us, especially with 2022 being literally around the corner. So I'm going to just dive a little bit into the magic of the full moon, especially this one being in the zodiac of Gemini. And then I'm going to take you through a beautiful little meditation where you can literally dig deep and just recognize and observe which habits, traits, characteristics, people, all these things no longer serve you, so that you can step into 2021 with a really good idea of how to be the highest version of yourself next year. Knowing the traits that you no longer want to have, knowing the people that you might need to cut out of your life, the habits, the cycles, the patterns that we all have, just recognizing the ones that are no longer serving the highest versions of ourselves. So I would recommend having a pen and paper if you want to jot stuff down. And then also there will be one or two activities that we'll be doing where you will need a pen and paper. Let me just share my screen so long. Okay, so welcome to the Gemini full moon ceremony. I'm just going to take you through a little bit of information before we dive into the fun stuff, just so that you have a really clear idea of the importance and the significance of doing ceremony on the full moon. And before I even jump into it, I always have people asking me, like, what is ritual? A lot of people are kind of turned off by the idea of ritual because it seems like it might be part of a cult or some like weird thing that doesn't align with their idea of what is right and what is wrong. But the beauty of ritual is that firstly, you're setting aside time to fully immerse yourself in a specific ritual. And secondly, this ritual cements your intention. So whenever you go into any ritual, you always need to go in with some kind of intention. So whether it's meditation, you should have an intention of what you want to gain from that meditation. Whether it's journaling, having an idea of what you want to journal on. Breath work, yoga, whatever it is, always setting an intention in the beginning of a practice or ritual is the most beautiful thing, because it really taps into your subconscious and allows you to dig as deep as you can into that specific intention. So I thought I'd just tell you that before we jump into our first little ritual here. So the significance of the full moon, there are 8 main cycles in a moon cycle, but the 2 that I love to focus on are the new moon and the full moon. So the new moon is a perfect time to set new intentions, because the moon is basically, that's when the cycle of the moon starts again. So the full moon is pretty much in the middle of the lunar cycle. And obviously this is when the moon is at its brightest, which means it is basically like a lighthouse that shines its light onto the areas that need a little bit more attention. And that's why it's such a beautiful time to really use the full moon to do a ritual that will help you to recognize what you need to let go of. So it's not always going to be, and it sounds like the full moon's a time to like really dig deep and do shadow work and do all these hard things, but it is really a beautiful time to really just see what is no longer serving me. What do I need to let go of? It can be people, it can be an emotional pattern that you find yourself in. It can be something like judgment or procrastination or anything really, just really noticing where you could personally improve in your journey to becoming the highest version of yourself. Okay. So, like I said, it's the climax of the monthly lunar cycle because the energy is at its highest. And this is where the word lunatic comes from, because everyone tends to go a little bit crazy at the full moon. A lot of emotions come up at the full moon. And I guess that's why we all call it like lunatic, the perfect explanation of being highly emotional. But again, this is why it is such a perfect time to do some introspection and see, like, what are these emotions telling me? What is causing these emotions? Is it an external influence that I maybe need to restructure in my life? Or is it something within that I need to dig a little bit deeper into and see how I can grow, change, transform in order to get myself out of this emotional pattern? Okay. So, like I said, it's an excellent time to release toxic thoughts, emotions, and especially guilt, fear, and shame. Those are the three lowest vibrating emotions, and those are the ones that can really spin our life off track if we give into them and don't do anything to come out of this negative spiral. Especially the world that we find ourselves in right now with everything that's going on. Think about it, fear is probably one of the main emotions that is vibrating amongst humanity on this planet right now, because everyone is so fearful of firstly the virus or what's going to happen with the world. Our economic situation is messed up. People can't travel, can't see their family. People are dying. So fear is really a prominent emotion right now. And it does no one any good. I always say, like, no matter what the situation is, you don't have control over it. So you can either choose to look at the negative side of things and almost melt yourself into this negative vibrational state, which is not going to change the situation, or you can really try to bring yourself out of these lower vibrating emotions, step into higher vibrating emotions, whether it's focusing on something else or just doing things that you enjoy. Really trying to just be the most positive version of yourself, because either way, the situation is not changing. It's your perspective and how you deal and how you make the most of it that's going to change your life, right? So really trying to steer away from fear, guilt, and shame is like the number one tip for getting out of a low state of mind. So yeah, this is a perfect time to really let go of all these things and start on a fresh slate, start on a clean slate. And like I said, the full moon shines a light on our darkness, showing the parts of us that are normally hard to see. Okay, so naturally, this is a powerful time to do some deep inner work, whether it's shadow work, looking within, doing some healing, shifting blocks, or even shedding the past. So thanks for showing up tonight, because this is the first step to you guys really stepping into a higher version of yourselves. Okay, so this full moon was in the zodiac of Gemini, and Gemini has a strong theme of balance, which I'll get to, but there's also a few aspects of your life that Gemini shines light on. So in combination with this lighthouse effect of the full moon, Gemini is also helping to shine light on specific areas of our life. So even if this is something you just want to do for this lunar cycle coming up, these are some really pertinent things that you can start to look at within your life and start to see how you can find more balance, more happiness, more joy, more ease. So the first one is communication. And this is obviously communication with others and communication with yourself. So really starting to see, how are your communication skills with people? Are you expressing yourself with ease and authenticity, or are you holding back, hiding parts of yourself that you fear might cause judgment or might cause loss? So you see how this fear comes up into pretty much everything in life. And then communication with yourself. Are you really talking to yourself like someone you love? Because at the end of the day, you should be the one person that you love the most. Because like I always say, you can't pour from an empty cup. And if you want to give the most love to your friends or family or colleagues, to pets, whoever it may be, but you don't love yourself, you can't love other people without fully loving yourself first. So the first step to finding like true self-love and acceptance is really recognizing the way in which you speak to yourself. So are you putting yourself down? Are you doubting yourself? Are you like your own biggest critic? And it's natural to be that, because in this world that we brought up in, we do tend to be the most harsh on ourselves. So if anything, in the next 28 days, if you just really start to assess the way that you speak to yourself and catch yourself out and change anything you're saying in a negative mindset and reframe it to more positive, that's going to start making huge shifts in your own personal improvement journey. And then again, with communication with people, really just starting to assess and observe the way that you speak to others. Are you speaking to others the way you would like them to speak to yourself? Are you being honest with others? Are you supportive instead of like bringing people down? Really just take a breath before you find yourself reacting in a situation or to a person, and ask yourself, is this the nicest thing that I can say in this moment? Is this something that is coming from a place of judgment or a place of anger? And then reassess how you can maybe come across from a more neutral standpoint. Okay, number 2 is relationships. And I mean, communication is the crux of relationships. If you don't have good and honest communication in your relationships, you're never going to have expansive and true bonding relationships, right? So again, just tapping into how are your social skills, and are you spending time with the people you value the most? Now, this can also go back to boundaries, right? We sometimes feel obliged to spend time with people that we don't necessarily like or align with, or forced to spend time with people, maybe it's your partner's friends or like certain family that you feel like you have to spend time with. But at the end of the day, if they are not giving you anything but dragging you down and making you feel terrible, then really start to maybe think about how you can separate yourself from that, or really spend a lot less time. Your life boils down to the quality of the people that you spend time with. So when you start to really protect your energy and choose to be surrounded by people who support you, who love you, who only want the best for you, there's also going to be huge major shifts happening in your life then. And then number 3 is knowledge and skills. So are you pursuing your interests? I think we were all conditioned growing up to believe that we go to school, then we go to college or university or whatever, we study something, then we go work, try and make as much money as we can, work as hard as we can, like pay the bills, maybe go on holiday once a year, and that's life. But at the end of the day, if you are doing something that you're not passionate about, you're never going to live a fulfilled life. So really start to, even if it's not your career, if it's something you're doing on the side, something that really brings you joy, it's really just going to increase the quality of your life so much. So start to ask yourself, are you pursuing your interests? Are you increasing your wisdom and or improving your skills? I think since I stepped into my purpose, I've never had a bigger thirst for knowledge in my entire life. And it's the most beautiful thing. Like my aim is to try learn something new every day. It might be the tiniest little thing. It might be the hugest thing, but it's just so incredible using your brain and really just filling it with the information that interests you and that helps you to grow and expand into the next level version of you. And all it takes is reading a book, listening to a podcast, Googling something. Like whenever I have a question, I Google it straight away. Like there's no better age to live in to learn than now, because we have so much access to information all the time. So really just pushing yourself to learn something new every day can also really majorly up-level your life, because at the end of the day, the biggest quantum leaps don't happen overnight. They happen over a space of time. And that's small little steps that lead up to this huge quantum leap. So just by doing something small every day can really, really push you to that next level version of yourself. Okay. And then, like I said, Gemini also seeks balance in everything. And balance doesn't mean having a good balance of like things you enjoy and things you don't enjoy. Okay. We want to live a life where we fully love every part of it. So balance just means having a balance in maybe the feminine and the masculine. Feminine's like flow, intuition, like empathy, all the like soft, beautiful parts of being feminine. And masculine is structure, like strength. You need both in order to succeed in anything, really. So really just starting to look at every aspect of your life and see if you've got a good balance there. So the three main topics that come up under the Gemini full moon are balance in your throat chakra. So your throat chakra is your self-expression, your honesty, your authenticity. So are you speaking your truth, whether to yourself or another? And this can become such an interesting activity to do when you really just become more self-aware of the words you speak. One of my core values is honesty. And this year I've really pushed myself to be aware of everything I say and whether it's 100% honest or not. And it's been such an interesting journey, because in the beginning I'd catch myself telling little white lies, you know, just to cover your tracks or to like not have to go to a friend's house or whatever it may be. And now I just cannot lie. Honestly, it like brings and gives this, I get this uneasy feeling within me, because I've aligned myself so much and I've strengthened my throat chakra so much that I cannot do anything but speak my truth, whether that's speaking to other people or even like being honest with myself. I had a meditation the other morning where I did some sacral chakra work, and I went past through all my previous relationships, and I was so dead honest with myself, and it was actually so healing. Because before I was seeing everything from a victim perspective, I actually realized that there was a lot of the issues came from my side as well. And that allows me to now dig into those issues and see what was causing them and actually grow from that, grow out of that. So being honest with yourself can be the most life-changing thing you can ever do, because you call yourself out on your own bullshit and you really know when you need to start working on specific things in your life. Okay. Another way to balance your throat chakra is to speak out affirmations. Now, it sounds quite contradictory, because a lot of times our affirmations are speaking things that haven't yet happened. But this is the perfect way to get yourself in alignment, especially when you're manifesting, because the universe and your subconscious mind doesn't understand. Firstly, the universe doesn't understand negative and positive. That's why affirmations should always be spoken in a positive light and as if they have already happened. Because when the universe hears you speaking these affirmations, they're like, cool, so it is. And it starts sending things your way to make that a reality. And your subconscious mind is pretty similar. So when you start speaking an affirmation of a manifestation that you so truly desire, it almost activates a part of your subconscious that now starts to consciously look for ways to make that happen. So you'll see, as soon as you start to speak affirmations, like let's say, I'm confident, you're going to start noticing where your confidence issues lie within your life, because your subconscious is now trying to figure out how to get this confidence within yourself. And it's going to help you to now obviously be honest with yourself, figure out where these issues are coming from, and you can start to work on it. Okay. And then something you can actually do, not obviously now, this could be quite a like deep in-depth exercise, is to start to journal on your 2021 lessons. And we'll go, when I take you through a meditation just now, we'll dig a little bit into this, but it's something you can do over and over again and really start to look at the main lessons that you learned this past year, and then turning those into maybe affirmations that obviously have the lesson within it. So let's say you learned about how dishonesty doesn't really take you to where you need to go. You can turn it into an affirmation that I'm completely honest and it has brought me so many soul-aligned friendships, or whatever it may be. That's a perfect way for you to just affirm the lessons that you've learned from this year and take them through with you to next year. Okay. Then number 2 is to balance your energy. So because we are now letting go of 2021, all the things that we no longer want to take through with us, really starting to look at the things that are causing negative energy in your life. So this can be a job, this can be people, this can be limiting beliefs that you have. It can be doubts, fears, shame, guilt, any of these negative things that are constantly replaying in your life, in your mind. This is a perfect time to really start to notice what these are and start to figure out how you can let them go. Okay. Another thing is to let your guard down a bit and open up your heart. And I know a lot of people who have been burnt in the past by relationships or friendships, they find it very hard to open their hearts up to new people because they always have this underlying fear of being hurt again. But at the end of the day, you're not giving anyone a chance to come into your life. And yes, sometimes someone's going to hurt you, but you are missing out on so many amazing people that you are not letting into your life because you've got your walls up so high that you're going to miss out on beautiful friendships, beautiful wisdom, and even mentors or just experiences. So really, if you are one of these people who has their guard up so high, really start to just open up your heart a little bit, because it's going to bring in so much joy, love, abundance when you do. Okay, and like I said, then finding balance between structure, which is the masculine, and flow, which is the feminine. And this is also something I've been working on this year, because obviously we brought up in this hustle culture where we have to be working all the time. Every minute you're not working, you're losing your worth, and all this bullshit that we've been conditioned to believe, where sometimes it's just so much better to listen to your body, work when you're feeling productive, rest when you're not. Because I can tell you now, when you are working, you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to run out of energy, motivation, drive. And it also takes a toll on your physical health, right? So when you find the balance between working when you feel that boost of energy and when you're feeling motivated or inspired, and then taking those days, and I know obviously when you work 9 to 5, you don't have the luxury of being able to take a day off. But let's say on the weekend, if you've got a million plans with friends and you wake up on Saturday and you really just feel like your body needs rest, cancel your plans. Take that rest, because it's really going to help you to recover, recuperate, rejuvenate, and in the next few days really take the bull by the horns and be able to continue working, because you've listened to yourself, you've allowed yourself the rest that your soul is yearning for, your body is yearning for. And then number 3 is balancing your life. So this is also a really good time under this full moon to tap into your logical thinking and create your big picture vision for 2022. So it's always good. And I actually had this chat with my sister the other day where we were saying we're not that like 5-year goal, 10-year goal kind of people, because if I look at how much my mindset, my life, my goals have changed in the past year, how is it possible for me to set solid 5-year goals when I could completely change my mind, the country I live in, the friends I have, my idea of what success is? That goal that I've set for myself in 5 years could be so out of alignment for the person that I'm becoming. So it's really good to have a vision for what you want your life to be, but not get so stuck in the specifics of firstly how you achieve these goals and the specifics of like these goals you want to achieve. Think about yourself when you came out of high school. Maybe you wanted to become a chartered accountant. Then you started first year varsity and you're like, what the hell was I thinking? This is so boring and it's like drains my soul. And this is only the first year of like, 7 years of studying. And then it's the rest of your life of doing something that completely drains your soul. So might have been your goal your whole life through high school, but now that you've actually experienced this little bit of this career, it's not really aligned to you anymore. So it's really important to, yes, have a big vision, but be very fluid in how you grow that vision, because the only constant in life is change. And when you surrender to that fact and you really just start to embrace change, then magic starts to happen. Okay, and then obviously, what do you want more of and what do you want less of? But we'll tap into this when we do the meditation. Okay. Then full moons also provide an opportunity for us to deal with challenges from our shadow selves. Like I said, the full moon shines light on the darker sides of ourselves. So the shadow side of Gemini's energy involves immaturity and a certain flightiness or fickleness. So if something pushes your buttons now, consider how much of it you might have brought upon yourself by acting a little childishly or by being insincere in your actions. Now, this is something your ego is going to fight to the death, because the last thing we want to do is admit that we've been childish, that we've done wrong, that we are the one at the root of the problem. But this is the most transformative work you can really, really do. And that goes back to being honest with yourself, and really just setting aside some time to do some introspection. Okay. And once you recognize the shadow elements which have brought you to this point, you can plan to move ahead, blessed by Gemini's reason and logic. Okay. So a lot of people are scared of shadow work, and I don't blame them, because it is a dark journey. But shadow work is not seeing the sides of you that scare you or make you feel shameful or guilty and hiding them. It's embracing them, accepting them, and integrating it into who you are. Learning from whatever is causing these things that have caused guilt, shame, fear, whatever it may be, and overcoming that to become a more higher version of yourself. Okay, so I'm just going to start some music, and then I'm going to take you into meditation. So if you want to start getting comfortable, it's really important when you meditate to be comfortable. None of this like sit still, don't move, upright, because all you're going to be focusing on the whole meditation is how uncomfortable you are. So really make sure you're comfortable. You can lie back, you can sit up, you can put a cushion behind you, you can do whatever you want. Just make sure that you're comfortable. Okay. And then just tell me with the thumbs up if you can hear me over the music. Fine. Okay, so just, sorry, I can only see one person. Let me change my screen view. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me over the music. I don't want the music to be too loud. I'm not seeing any thumbs up, girls.
Any music, I can just hear you.
Oh, can you not hear the music?
No.
Okay, that's weird. Okay, we'll have to go without music then, guys. Can you guys hear me properly?
Yeah, we can hear you properly. There was a bit of meditation, but it was quite soft. Are you able to like turn it up from your side a little bit?
Okay, give me a seckie. Just need to find the song I wanted to use. And now, still soft.
Yeah.
Now?
It's getting a little bit louder.
Okay. And you can hear me, hey?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty, guys, get comfy. And when you're ready, you can close your eyes. Just really focusing on being present in this moment. The best way to bring yourself into this present moment is to just focus on your breath. So I want us to do a few diaphragmatic breaths, which is just breathing fully into your body, allowing your stomach to expand like a balloon. So with every inhale, filling your belly so that it almost feels like it's going to pop. And then exhaling fully. So at your own pace, just inhaling fully. Noticing how with each breath you take, you feel a little bit more calm, a little bit more present. Within each inhale, imagining a bright white healing light just filling your body. And as you exhale, just exhaling any negativity, any doubts, any distractions. Just going back through your day, seeing where you've left parts of your energy. Maybe you had a very busy day. Just retrace your footsteps and collect back any energy you may have left along the way. Now I want you to take your focus to your root chakra, which is situated at the bottom of your spine. This is what grounds you to Mother Nature, to the earth. So just imagine a bright red light spinning around at the base of your spine. You may see it, you may feel it, you may just know that it's there. And as this red light grows and spins, I want you to look back at this year and think about any major fears or limiting beliefs that have really stood out for you and that have really kept you stuck or stopped you from chasing your dreams. Maybe you have fears of judgment or failure. Maybe you have limiting beliefs of not being good enough, not being worthy. Just let your mind go over this past year and see what stands out. We're just observing here, so don't judge yourself. Don't get too stuck into these emotions. Just be aware of them. And as you start to recognize the fears and the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back this year, I want you to imagine placing them in a basket, one by one, and just leaving them inside there. Once you've placed all of these fears and limiting beliefs into your baskets, just repeat silently to yourself, I am peaceful, protected, and secure. Taking a deep, full inhale and letting it all out. We're going to move up to your sacral chakra, which is heavily tied to your emotions and your creativity, your sexuality, your sensuality. This is situated just beneath your belly button, basically in your womb space. And you can start to envision a bright orange light spinning. Again, you might see it, feel it, or just know that it's there. Anyone is perfectly fine. And I want you to start looking back on this year again and observe the situations where you felt a lot of doubt and shame. Or maybe even just tap into the prominent negative emotions that you have felt throughout this year. Again, just observing, no judgment. Where have you doubted yourself the most? Maybe it's in your career, in your relationships, in your health. What emotions have been prominent this year? Maybe anger, fear, judgment, hate. Just recognizing these emotions. And then again, one by one, you can start to place them into your baskets. And once you've placed all of these emotions, doubts, any feelings of shame, you can repeat to yourself in your head, I am living a life free from stress and full of bliss. Really breathe that in, filling yourself with a feeling of bliss and exhaling any stress. We then move up to your solar plexus chakra, which is just above your belly button. And you can start to envision a bright yellow light spinning there. Your solar plexus is your center for your sense of self, your confidence, your drive, your motivation. And a prominent feeling that can block the chakra is guilt. So now I want you to scan back over this past year. Really think of certain situations that bring up this feeling of guilt. It could easily be with family members, or friends, or relationships, or maybe things that you did that weren't in your highest alignment. Again, just observing these situations, all these memories. The goal here is just to pick up what we need to let go of. Maybe also going back to see where you lacked confidence or self-worth. Just remembering these situations and what made you feel less confident, less worthy. And as you start to pick these moments up, you can gently place them in your basket. Once you've put all of these into your basket, you can repeat the affirmation, I am powerful, confident, and successful in all that I do. Taking a deep inhale to breathe in that affirmation. And then exhale any remaining guilt, memories, placing them in that basket again. Then we move up to your heart chakra, which is in the area of your heart, just in the middle of your chest. And you can start to envision a bright green light spinning there. Now, this is your center of unconditional love for yourself and for others. So as you scan back over this year, I want you to pick up the moments where you might have not fully had unconditional love for people or yourself. Maybe there were times when you weren't fully accepting, or you were filled with judgment. Just remembering that judgment is the ego flaring up. It's when you expect people to be the way you think they should be. So just float back over this past year and pick up moments where maybe you were a little bit judgmental. Just observing. Maybe there were moments where you weren't very accepting because someone went against what you believe. Or what you think is right. And just start to place these moments and these memories into your basket. You can also maybe look at the relationships in your life that are toxic. And place these relationships into your basket too. And once you've done placing them into your basket, Just repeating the affirmation, I give and receive love effortlessly and unconditionally. Breathing that affirmation deep within and exhaling it all out. Moving up to your throat chakra, which is positioned just there by your throat. Just envisioning a bright blue light spinning there. Your throat chakra is your center of self-expression. Authentically expressing yourself. Being honest with others. So just float back over this year and see the times where maybe you weren't honest with the people in your life. Or even the moments where you didn't feel confident or safe enough to speak your truth. Just observing these moments. Maybe even moments where you spoke words that you shouldn't have. You may have been too harsh, ugly, judgmental again. Just observing these moments. And then one by one, placing them into your basket. And once you've placed these all in your basket, you can repeat the affirmation. I speak clearly and truthfully with grace and ease. Moving up to your third eye chakra, which is the space between your eyebrows. And you can just start to envision a indigo or dark purple light spinning there. This is your center for intuition, inner knowing, wisdom, imagination. So as you skim over this past year, start to pick out the moments where you maybe were stuck in an illusion or didn't have a very open mind, stuck in your own perspective. Perspective is a beautiful way to grow and transform. And it's normally the moments that trigger you the most, where you can really see this as an opportunity to learn from someone else's perspective, do some research, and maybe learn something new, maybe shift a belief, maybe release some conditioning. So really going back over this year and picking out moments where maybe taking this approach could have led to a better outcome. And then starting to place these moments into your basket. One by one. And then repeating the affirmation, I am tuned into the divine and my intuition. Breathing that in and exhaling out. then lastly, tapping into our crown chakra, which is at the top of your head. You can imagine a bright violet light spinning there. This is our chakra that connects us to the divine, to God, to the universe, to source, whatever you believe. Also connects us to all that is, to everyone on this planet, to every being, to everything, to Mother Nature, to all the elements, to our ancestors, our angels, our guides. There's so much deep knowledge and wisdom to be gained when we open our crown chakra. And the biggest emotion that blocks off this chakra is anger. So I want you to float back over this past year and really pick out the moments where you felt the most angry. Just observing, no judgment. Being honest with yourself. And then placing these moments into your basket. Gently, with love, one by one. And then repeating the affirmation, I am one with my higher self and with the divine. Breathing that in. And then breathing it out. Now I want you to pick up this basket that you filled with all your fears, limiting beliefs, emotions, shame, guilt, judgment, non-acceptance, dishonesty, lies, illusions, rigid perspectives, anger. All of these things that no longer serve you. Just taking a moment to give them gratitude for the lessons that they've taught you, for the strength that they've given you. And then you can lift up your basket and gift it to the universe, watching as the universe takes this basket and takes it into the abundance of space. Watch as it floats away from you, getting smaller, smaller, until it just looks like a star in the sky. Taking another deep breath in and exhaling out. I want you to repeat the following affirmation in your mind. I can let go of negativity. I choose instead to embrace positive, life-affirming thoughts. That build me up and enable me to better serve others. And so it is. Bringing your awareness back to your breath. Taking a full, big inhale and exhale. Inhaling fully again through your nose. And on your exhale, you can sigh it all out. Start to bring some gentle movement back into your body. Maybe wiggling your fingers, your toes, swaying your hips, turning your head from side to side, whatever feels good. And when you're ready, you can slowly start to open your eyes. Okay. How was that, guys? You can let me know in the chat. Share my screen again. Okay. Oh, I'm so glad you guys found it beautiful, incredible. Okay. So meditation is such a powerful tool. And when you really give yourself the time and the space to go within with intention, which is why I took you through all your chakras, to really dig deep into all those areas of your life. It can be so profound because you really are just allowing your soul to speak to you, to communicate with you. So I hope you guys had some good feedback from your soul there. So I want to, now this is when you can get your pen and paper, and I want you to just jot down 5 things that really stood out for you in terms of personal toxic habits or traits that came up that you want to leave behind in 2021. So I'll give you about a minute to jot these things down, but really just think about the standout things that really came up for you in your meditation. Maybe it was certain fears, certain limiting beliefs, maybe certain dominant emotions, negative emotions that you find yourself in a reactive cycle. Really just jot down the top 5 that really have influenced the lower version of yourself this year. And if any of you are struggling to figure out 5 things, I'm going to put this ceremony up in the Facebook group. And the full moon power generally lasts about 3 days after the full moon. So up until Tuesday evening, if you want to go through the meditation again, you'll see the more you do it, the more that actually comes up, because the more you recognize traits, toxic behaviors, limiting beliefs, and acknowledge them and write them down, you make space for more to come up. So you can really, if you want to do this exercise again, just do it again in the next 2 days, because like I said, the full moon really lights up the darker side of ourselves. So it's a beautiful time to do this. And then when you're done with those 5 things, then I want you to also list The top 5 may be toxic people or relationships in your life this past year that have brought you no good, that have caused you stress, anxiety, sadness, maybe like just draining energy. Just list those down. Maybe you're lucky enough not to have 5 toxic people or relationships in your life. Maybe you have more than 5. Just jot down the ones that really stood out to you that aren't adding any value to your life. This is also something you need to be so honest with yourself about, especially if it's relationships, romantic relationships, because we tend to lie to ourselves in certain relationships because we're just too scared to let go, scared of being alone. So it's really pertinent to be very honest with yourself. Okay, so now that we've jotted down up to 10 things that we are ready to let go of and leave behind in 2021, I thought I'd just give you an exercise on how to really forgive. Now, forgiveness is the key to growth, expansion, and moving on, because when you hold on to grudges, onto anger, onto unforgiveness, the only person that you're harming is yourself. That other person is not having sleepless nights about the reasons why you are feeling hurt. Not in all situations, but in most situations, that person is not losing sleep over you feeling sorry for yourself because of this, and that. So forgiveness is such a powerful exercise and thing to do, because you release yourself from that situation, from that person, from those memories. And forgiveness doesn't mean that you are condoning what that person did to you. It means that you are allowing yourself to move forward, to let go. Okay. So you can just look at these things you listed down, especially if there are things that you feel like you need to forgive yourself for, especially on the 5 toxic traits or habits that you may have had over this past year that you want to let go, and also that you want to forgive others for. Okay. When you forgive yourself and when you forgive someone else, you release the energy that that person or that situation or that thing has over you, which obviously allows you to move forward. So you can do this with one thing on your list, and you can go back and do this later or another time if you want to go through everything on your list. But just taking a few deep breaths is always the best way to start any ritual, because it calms the nervous system. It brings you into this present moment, and it connects you back with yourself. So taking some deep breaths in and out, the diaphragmatic breathing that I took you through in the beginning of the meditation is perfect. But there's tons of different types of breath work you can do as well. But obviously keep it to a softer practice, not some hectic breath of fire practice, because you're just going to get yourself worked up. And just get yourself in this state of calm presence. Okay. Then just think about the one thing or the one person that you want to forgive, or yourself, that situation, that regret, that guilt, that shame, whatever it may be. And then you can close your eyes and start to visualize this moment or this person. You can do it now if you want to, you can do it later. And once you have this, maybe it's a memory that you have where maybe you said something horrible to someone that you really shouldn't have said. Go back to this moment. We're just observing, so don't feel into the feels and start to feel horrible. We're just observing this moment. And if it's a person that did you wrong, just go back to this person and envision them in your mind. And then start to envision, if it's yourself that you need to forgive, envision that version of you just smiling. If it's someone else, just imagine that person smiling. And then surround that person or that moment with a pink bubble. So this way you're creating a higher vibrational mindset when you are dealing with this moment or this person or yourself. So just envisioning this moment or this person or yourself smiling and surrounded by a pink soft bubblegum bubble. And then once you've got that vision in your mind, you can say silently or out loud, I forgive you. And then just let them float off in their cute little fluffy pink candy floss bubble. The same as what we did with our basket, just letting it float off. Okay. And then once they've floated off in their little pink bubble, you can recite this full moon forgiveness and karma release formula. I'll actually post this in the Facebook group just now if you want to have access, or you can screenshot or write it down if you have time now. Just say, under the full moon, I forgive everything, everyone, every experience, every memory of the past or present that needs forgiveness. I forgive everyone. I also forgive myself. The universe is love, and I'm forgiven and governed by love alone. Love is now adjusting my life. Realizing this, I abide in peace. Okay. The ultimate goal in life is to live from the heart, to lead with love, to do everything with love. So this is just a beautiful little prayer or mantra or whatever you want to call it that you can say every time you go through this forgiveness formula, just to realign yourself with the energy of love. Okay. And then if you want after this, or whenever you do this kind of a ceremony, you can burn the 2 lists that you compiled after this meditation. Please do make sure that you do this outside and in a safe environment. Don't want you setting your garden alight or something in your house on fire. Also try to use a fireproof bowl if you are going to put it in a bowl, because I've ruined many a bowl thinking that all bowls are fireproof. Or you can even just dig a hole and plant it in the ground, returning it back to the earth. But it's just such a beautiful symbolic ritual of burning up these things that you no longer want to take with you into the new year. Okay, and then like we did in the meditation of giving gratitude to all these negative things that have held us back or kept us small or made us feel less than, is to give those moments and those things gratitude, because you wouldn't be the person that you are today without all of these experiences. And as shit as some of your experiences might be, they make you stronger, they make you more resilient, and they teach you lessons. Like, think about friends that have burned you. You're going to go into friendships having a better idea of the friendships that you want, that align with your soul. And you're going to be more susceptible to picking up their bullshit before they even have the opportunity to mess you around. So you are always learning, always growing, expanding. And all of these things are the reasons why you are wiser, stronger. So giving gratitude is such a beautiful thing to do with anything in life, because it automatically raises your vibration. Okay. And that is the end of that. So I just wanted to chat a little bit. I know some of you have already bought the Manifest with the Moon calendar, but I just thought it was so pertinent to talk about it in this workshop or this ceremony, because this brings in all the magic of what we did tonight throughout your whole next year. So this calendar has all the new moon dates, all the full moon dates, and all the other magical witchy dates. And each month under the new moon, it really guides you with the best things to manifest into your life. I'm actually going to do another free workshop on the 2nd of Jan under the new moon, but it digs a lot deeper into your own personal natal chart, and how you can align your manifestation process with your own natal chart, which means you will cover every aspect of your life throughout the year in all your manifestation categories. And it really just aligns with like the ruling planets for you and when you were born, which is such a powerful practice. And then the full moon dates also gives you journaling prompts you can use according to the zodiac that it falls under. And yeah, there's just so much magic in this calendar. There's about 2 or 3 pages full of information as well on new moons and full moons and manifestation practices and letting go rituals. And there's other little rituals that we've put throughout the calendar. So it really is just a very magical, beautiful calendar. So if you guys would like to get a copy, you can just pop me a message later on via Instagram or Facebook group or anything, because we will be sending them out early January. But thank you guys so much for joining today. I'm actually going to open the floor up for some questions. If you have any questions, or any feedback on the meditation, I'd love to know how it went. So if you do have anything you want to ask or share, you can just pop on. I see Kelly's there ready to go.
I found in the meditation when we were asking about like what we weren't able to like achieve, or what was holding us back to achieve our goals and that sort of stuff. And I was kind of like lost for a little bit, because I was like, I didn't have any goals sort of set this year. I was just trying to work on myself and just be okay with myself. And I know that I did everything that I wanted to and still doing. So I didn't really have anything that popped into mind now for that, which I thought was nice.
Yeah, that is nice. And I mean, the craziest thing is you can do this meditation over and over again, and every time something different will come up.
Yeah.
But in saying that, like, obviously you did deeply rooted. So you've obviously got some aligned chakras. Some of us struggle a lot more in different areas. So like maybe in the fear section, a lot came up. And in the heart section, nothing came up. Or like in the throat chakra section, nothing came up, because you are confident and express your truth and like don't ever fear being judged or or whatever it may be. So you'll see. But glad that one of your things seemed pretty aligned, girl.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly.
Rox, I just wanted to jump in. Can you hear me? Just making sure you can first. Okay, good. I just wanted to jump in and ask you just for some advice, some recommendations on resources for embodying the feminine. I feel like I'm an individual that has been incredibly masculine, and really, I remember, and for the other ladies that are on the call, and for yourself, if you haven't encountered her online, Sabrina Lynn is someone that I came in touch with online and on YouTube. And I remember watching one of her first videos on YouTube and literally wanted to hiss at the screen, because she is so embodied and feminine and just so exceptional at that side. And I'm so, or have been traditionally so embodied and masculine, and just trying to strike a balance between both. So that said, I know that there is so much out there, so many resources that you could tie into even just the moon calendar and our own cycles and womb space, but it's really difficult to discern which ones are most valuable. So certainly considering your own work, just wanted to ask you for your recommendations there as well.
It's such a personal thing, because people resonate so differently with different resources. But I think for me, a lot of work has just come down to like doing my own research. Sabrina Lynn's also incredible, but I think I can't think of any like books or podcasts off the top of my head, but I generally learn the most from reading and listening to podcasts. I don't know what your preferred method of learning is.
Both of those as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe even just Googling like top rated podcasts about embodying the feminine, books, whatever it may be. I'm trying to think, there's no real books that I actually read. Oh, Pussy is incredible, but that's more sexuality and like yoni power, but also really incredible, like stepping into yourself as a woman, like none of this patriarchal bullshit. And then really just when you do find exercises, tools, stuff like that, really actually doing it. Like I have learned so much, but I've learned the most by actually doing the work. So really like stepping out of, and most females operate more in the masculine because we live in a male dominated world, right? We taught that we have to hustle, vulnerability is a weakness, like competition over collaboration, all this like toxic masculine stuff. It's really just stepping into the flowy feminine side of things. So how can you be more in flow? Like taking that structure away, taking those like rules and regulations and all these things that you have that keep you in a box, and seeing how you can flow more. So whether it's just like practicing that with meditation, maybe instead of like doing a guided meditation with a set time, like just sit there and go with the flow. I found with working, just listening to myself, if I wake up on a Monday and I really am not feeling motivated or inspired to like do work, then I'll take it like a really chilled day. And then on the days where I do feel motivated, inspired, then I like hit the ground running and I get so much done. Also just like tapping into more of your like empathic side, being more compassionate. I found just from like this stepping more into my feminine side of things, like I'm a blubbering mess now when I watch movies or like even TikTok videos. I like see stuff and I just start crying. I'm like, what is wrong with me? But that's really tapping into your feminine side, right? It's like connecting with everything. It's that mothering nature, that nurturing nature side of yourself. So everyone's going to have a different journey in terms of being more feminine. And I think it's just finding your feet and finding the things that work for you. I'm going to think about it as well. If anything comes to mind, I'll send you some resources and stuff. But like I said, learning is fabulous, but doing the work is like way more important, because you can read a million cookbooks, but until you actually start cooking in the kitchen, you're not a chef. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
What I also do is like on my Pinterest board, if I ever see something that I'm like, oh, that's super cute, I would have loved to have worn that, but knowing that my like masculine side is saying, no, you won't, I just save it anyway because it's still there and I'm still thinking about it. And I just do it with like nails, hair stuff, perfumes, shoes, whatever it is, because it's just something different, you know, and it's cool that you can see it on your Pinterest board and you know that it's there. And then I've started getting some confidence to be like, okay, now that I've seen this with people's hair, I can start doing this with mine. And it has helped a little bit.
I love that. Actually, as you said that, it was quite crazy because this year, I say that now, but I am wearing all black, but it's because it's freezing outside and the only thing I had was black warm clothes. But this year I like made a concerted effort to buy more like colorful clothes, more like pinks and blues and like pastels, and it's not necessarily feminine clothing. I'm like tracksuits, leggings, like shorts kind of girl, but it's more feminine colors, and that's also really helped me on a like subconscious level. It's not like I'm wearing them thinking, okay, now I'm feminine, but it like kind of like gets the subconscious bringing more of the feminine side out of you when you do wear those kind of colors. So whether it's painting your nails or like doing your makeup. And I mean, don't want to get stuck too much on the side of our external appearance, but those things can really also help to bring out a more feminine aspect of yourself. Okay, let me just check the chats here. Oh, Asma gave some tips as well. Asma's incredible. She said any self-care activity, bubble baths, face masks. I love doing bubble bath and listening to a podcast. It's the best. Take days off, days to nurture and cherish yourself on your periods. Yeah, I think also getting in touch with your cycle and really appreciating that part of you can really do so many wonders for healing the feminine energy within yourself. We are so like cut off because it's dirty, it's shameful, like don't tell anyone. And it really is not that. It's like the most divine part of our being. And then she said being creative, cooking, dancing, painting. That's actually a really good one. Thank you, Asla. Really, if not everyone's a dancer, not everyone's a painter, not everyone's a cooker, but there's something that's going to bring out that creative side of you, that creatrix archetype. So, I mean, I don't know if you saw, I started doing paint by numbers. I started Shakti Warrior dance. Like I've got a slackline in my garden that also kind of feel like it brings out my creative side because I have to balance the fuck out of that thing. Just doing stuff that really like taps into your creative energy can also be such a beautiful healing thing for the feminine. And then exploring your sensual sexual side and honoring that, not blocking your sexual pleasure. That's a big one. And having supportive sisters around you. That's so true. Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Hey, Roxy.
Hello, my love.
Thank you so much for hosting us.
Thank you for being here.
It's very, very special. Thank you. And hi to everyone else. Hi, ladies. It's my first time being in this circle, so I just wanted to say I feel the love. Thank you so much. I wanted to mention when we were going through the meditation, every time going through the chakras, bringing up fear. Earlier this week, in my book that I'm reading from Jay Shetty, Think Like a Monk, he had a practice where you kind of go through your fear and you label it, whether it's useful fear or hurtful fear. And when I did the practice, I was kind of like, like on the jump and I've got this, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to label it. I'm going to push through. You kind of try and get through it as quickly as you want to. But I think something that I've been doing a lot this year was labeling hurtful fear so useful fear is something like when your doctor tells you your health is going backwards, you can do something about it. It's useful information. Where when it's hurtful fear, it's like that you can't change it. It's like losing a loved one or a pet or something like that. And I think something that I was going through this year was too easily labeling something as a hurtful fear. Oh, I can't do anything about that. That's just the way it is. I'm going to have to cut off from it and move away from it and separate myself from it. And now in meditation, I don't know if it's maybe helpful for somebody else as well, but it came up to me that was kind of like the easy way out, like labeling it hurtful, change my weight to my back, go in the other direction, where instead Gemini is about communication. So there's a way to make it useful if I step into that vulnerability and like have the conversation, like say, hey, this, again, setting that boundary and like owning your worth and stepping up to what you are, instead of running to, oh no, that was hurtful, I don't want this anymore, run away, keep away from it. So that was very powerful for me. That came up. Thank you. That really shifted things for the end of this year.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think fear is such a thing that plays a huge role in everyone's lives. And I mean, back in the day when we were more primitive, fear was a really necessary thing. Like if there was a wild animal there, the fear comes up because that thing's probably going to eat you. So those were valid fears. But now in this day and age, we don't really have stuff like that. Most of our fears are psychological. And a lot of our fears hold us back from stepping into the highest version of ourselves, from achieving success, from achieving abundance, because firstly, we like confuse fear with our intuition. So we decide, no, I'm not going to like take this next step. And your mind makes up all these excuses, but it's just because you're fearful of like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. It's not that you're fearful because of something that's like actually going to cause you harm. So yeah, fear is a very deep, interesting topic, but it's definitely something that when you work on can bring so much expansion.
I agree with you. I think that's been a big theme for me this year, is to learn to befriend my fear instead of having my fear tell me, oh, but you can't do this, but you're not worthy, you can't say that, you don't have a right in this space, or there's no space for you. And instead to befriend your fear and be like, yo, I know we're scared right now, but let's expand into this. It's like, feel it out, because technically I am safe, like nothing's happened yet. So why are they Corey freaking out? And that's definitely something that I have had the opportunity to learn. Fear and ego for me as a Leo, ego is something that's always like at the back of my head. So I've learned to befriend my ego, to instead of have my ego come across as that labeled thing from society, to instead be like, you know what, it's not that I'm arrogant, I'm confident in who I am. So I don't need to fear that judgment, or I don't need to fear the conversation when I am owning my truth, or even when my voice shakes, like going live or talking to anyone else, like it's always going to be there. But to just relabel it as, this is a friend of mine, this is something that I can work with, this is another opportunity. So that was very powerful. Thank you very, very much for that.
Pleasure. Yeah, ego, I think, has such a bad rap, but at the end of the day, your ego is just trying to protect you. But ego is basically like your inner child. So it's like this scared little child trying to protect you from things that aren't necessarily out to get you. So yeah, ego and fear work hand in hand as well. But it's so beautiful to hear your journey so far, and I'm expecting some incredible things from you in the future, my girl. No pressure. Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? I see there's some stuff in the chat. Okay, once again, thank you guys so much for being here. If you enjoyed this space and this ceremony, I'd highly recommend joining the Goddess Sisterhood. It's like this on steroids. We've got a beautiful space where the women are connecting, learning, growing, being vulnerable, sharing stories, sharing everything, and just creating such incredible transformation and growth. We have monthly workshops, monthly guest masterclasses, meditations, workbooks, learning the spiritual laws. But I think my favorite part is the Telegram group that we just got going the other day. That just creates a beautiful platform for people to bond, connect, share, and to start breaking that sister wound that we all have from patriarchy, where we feel like we have to compete and be better than and put other people down to make ourselves come on top. So if that is something that sounds good, then you can click, there's a link in my bio. Yeah, it's just a beautiful space. But thank you guys for showing up tonight. It's been incredible to spend some time with you on this lovely Sunday evening. And like I said, I'll put the replay up on the Facebook group. So if you want to go through that meditation again or catch anything that you missed throughout the ceremony, then you can just go catch it there. If you know anyone that you think would really benefit from this ceremony as well, feel free to send them my way. I think the more sisters we can get involved in doing the work, doing the self-improvement, developing themselves, and bonding and connecting with like-minded women to grow this beautiful, strong sense of sisterhood, and in turn just creating beautiful transformation, the better. So thank you guys so much. I'm not going to take up any more of your Sunday evening. I'll see you guys on the gram and in the Facebook group. But again, thank you so much for showing up. Your energy was all beautiful. I'm glad you enjoyed the meditation. And yeah, I'll catch you later.
Thanks so much, Rox.
Pleasure, Michael. So much love.
Thank you, Roxy.
Pleasure.
The ultimate sign.
I always see you doing that.
Sending you an abundance of love and light. Have a beautiful evening.
You too, my girl.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.